Medical charting can be a daunting task for many medical professionals, but is a necessary one. As a patient calling to book an appointment with your doctor, that can sometimes leave you waiting on hold. Our next guest has a new technology to help make all of these things a little more streamlined. Please welcome Heather Shantora, CEO of InnoCare, to our show. Hi, Heather. Good morning.
Hi there. Good morning.
Thanks so much for coming in.
Thanks for having me.
Okay, so let's start by talking about the recent survey results. So the first thing I have written here is booking appointments online.
Yes, and while you think that that was table stakes in this day and era, it's not. Technology is very late to healthcare, and if you think of any other sector, healthcare is really behind when it comes to technology. And so something as simple as booking appointments online or having online reminders was another popular one. These are not things that are typically in our healthcare system today.
And how long is it taking for people to get appointments?
Well, that's a great question. So there was a survey by the Fraser Institute put out just a few months ago, and it actually shows, for example, New Brunswick, it's 35 weeks to get a specialist appointment. Wow. And most of Atlantic Canada is between 31 to 35 weeks, but New Brunswick is the worst. And that's a significant amount of time when you're unwell.
A very significant amount of time. Okay, next, immediate access to test results. That was the next one.
Yes, I think that's huge. And I think what was even more interesting about that is that 52% of Canadians, and specifically Atlantic Canadians between age 55 and 70, were interested in access to their medical records and medical record sharing between practitioners. Now, historically, I think we're all worried that they were nervous about privacy and data protection.
Right. Yeah.
This survey is showing that's not true. They want better access to care, more information, and sharing of their records between all of their healthcare providers. This is a pretty big departure from the past.
Absolutely. And last, online access to personal medical records.
Exactly, yes. And so some of that is so that they can share with the other healthcare practitioners.
Right.
Some of that is just to make sure when all of this information's together that it is accurate, timely, etc. But really it has to do with making sure your physiotherapist knows what your family doctor is suggesting, and a surgeon if there's one involved as well.
And it also seems that residents on the East Coast want timely access over new services.
Absolutely, and I think that's something where, again, the healthcare sector is really late to this technology game.
Right.
So if we think of banking, which is probably the second most personal thing to us after your health,
right,
we can deposit money with one bank, even though our bank account's held with an entirely different banking group. And those transactions flow back and forth, and we as consumers think nothing about it. We go on our app. We're very comfortable with that. But when it comes to healthcare, we don't have those options available to us. So the things that came up in the survey really reinforce the way technology is going, but in any other sector, it wouldn't be that shocking. It's really just simple things that Atlantic Canadians are asking for.
Yeah, it's funny, that makes so much sense, but you know, I never thought about it that way. Okay, so what is InnoCare doing to meet these patient needs, you know, to help with the booking appointments online, for example?
Right, so InnoCare is a healthcare technology company, and so we've created things like electronic medical records for physiotherapists and those that are outside, you know, doctors' offices and hospitals. And the reason for that is so that they can integrate their records back with the doctors, but also with the patients. So as much as patients are very much our consumer and the one that we're trying to create efficiencies for, it's also for clinicians and doctors. We know that they're getting increasingly burnt out because of the obligation on them for paperwork and forms. So what we've done is created a really intuitive electronic medical record system where they're able to chart as quickly as possible, and that actually allows them to see more patients in their day because they're spending less time doing paperwork, and that has a knock-on effect and decreased wait times, which is better patient outcomes for Canadians.
Absolutely. Okay, so can we just take a quick look at your app? So what is the app actually called?
So InnoCare software.
Okay.
And this, so InnoCare software does all the booking and billing, but specifically we're looking at the charting.
Okay.
So if we look here, I'll just show you an assessment note that we started. What's really interesting, here, I just need to fill out our time. What's really interesting is that some of the fields I'll show you are dynamic. So here we've selected funding stream. So it could be that it's motor vehicle accident, it could be that it's private pay, but whatever we select, the fields are going to update dynamically. So we're only going to ask the right questions. Now, historically, electronic medical records would actually ask all of these fields. We have it dynamically set to only those that are important. Another time saver is if we look at what we call the body man. If we were to select, for example, a low back pain, when we select this, only the appropriate conditions will show up here. So we're going to do pain and joint. And then once we've done that, when we go back here, you'll see the diagnostic code up on the top left here, M225, 255. That has auto-populated. Historically, the clinician would have to memorize that or go Google it. You know, that's a lot of work. So the other thing that's really important for patients is if we go over to the analysis tab, if you look here under outcome measures, these are the types of things we can send back to your physician. So if we put in your neck disability index score and how you're feeling when we do the assessment versus how you're feeling when we do the discharge, we can actually show that you've made a measurable improvement, and we share that with your family doctor. And one more quick thing is 20% of the respondents said that they actually want to know if there's a product that's appropriate for them. They want to be reminded by email because it's a lot to take in sometime when you're in the doctor's office.
Yeah.
Or if there's another service that's appropriate. So what I've done is just selected in here. You'll see anywhere there's a little mail icon, I've selected what's appropriate for them. Registered massage therapist, brace, the frequency is 3 times a week for, let's just say, 3 weeks. Everything with that mail icon gets automatically emailed to the patient. So they don't need to remember everything on the spot. We've reminded them, and then we actually offer them a link to go ahead and book those online if they want to. So really making the experience faster for the clinician, but making sure that that patient goes home with all the information they need, and then the options to follow through with online booking. Email reminders go out for everything from the, let's say, product referral to upcoming appointments. So really simple stuff in any other sector, but big difference in healthcare.
Wow, that's huge. That's so cool. And if people want more info, do you have a website they could go to?
Absolutely, InnoCare.ca, and it's got a full range of all of the different ideas of technology that we're really putting out in the market.
Excellent. Okay, thank you so much. That was very interesting.
Thank you for having me.
All right, now we're going to go to break, and when we come back, lots more CML.